Oh, that's a big yawn. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's YouTuber video, I am going to be doing a coffee talk with you guys. So for today's coffee talk, it was a highly requested subject to cover, kind of like being confident in yourself and also how to not care what people think. I don't want kisses right now, no thank you. This topic is actually super relevant to even my own life right now because it's been something that's been kind of playing around in my head with even just YouTube and just life in general. I feel like recently I've been more critical of myself than I normally am. Let me give you like a good analogy. We learned the other day that with writing we go through like a process of going through a creative mode and then a critical mode and then a creative mode and then a critical mode. Creative, you come up with ideas and you're not being critical of them just yet, and then once you get those ideas, then you go in and you're critical of them and you analyze like, okay, well, what is really a good idea? As he was teaching us this, I kind of was watching being like, wow, that's not even just about writing. That's kind of just like in terms of life. I'll go through a phase where I feel super creative and super inspired, and then you kind of go through phases where you're more critical of yourself, not really doing things that inspire you or make you feel good. You're just constantly critical of yourself. You're constantly analyzing yourself. I don't know if any of you guys might relate to that, but that's definitely how I find my mindset goes, is I come in and out of these waves of being super inspired and creative and not caring what anyone thinks of me and feeling so sure of myself, to going into critical mode where all of a sudden I'm over-analyzing, I'm wondering if what I'm doing is a good idea, I'm conscious of what other people might be thinking of me, and then I struggle and then I try and get back out of that mindset only to fall back into the creative and then back into the critical. And I feel like it's kind of inevitable that this is going to happen to all of us. We need to have that sort of self-dialogue in order to, you know, push ourselves to withhold our responsibilities or to decide what's good for us, what's bad for us. So we do need to be a little critical of ourselves, but we definitely go overboard on the critical side, and sometimes it can be ridiculously hard to get back into that creative mode or, you know, that positive mindset and that self-fulfilling mindset and the very confident version of ourselves. It is important to not necessarily judge, but to definitely analyze ourselves to make sure, you know, that we're not walking through life completely blinded by the way that we affect other people, or, you know, just to be sure that we're constantly checking in with ourselves and feeling good about ourselves. But sometimes it can be way too easy to go overboard and become judgmental of ourselves and rip ourselves to shreds. Sometimes for me, I feel like the second I find one solid thing that's kind of bothering me, then all of a sudden I'm judging everything I do. I'm over questioning and over analyzing everything I do. I've suddenly lost all self-confidence. Some of the meanest things that have ever been said to you were said to you from you. When we make a mistake or we screw something up, we get so hard on ourselves and so mean inside our heads that we beat ourselves to nothing. Like, I'm guilty of this. I'm pretty sure all of us are guilty of this. It's not an easy topic to talk about with other people. Like, how do you explain that your mindset has just been super negative? You can't rely on anybody else to make you feel good and confident about yourself. It's something that has to happen within. The best part is that, yeah, you don't have to rely on anyone else to fix this. You could fix this yourself right now, like right at this minute. We all know that nobody wants to be that way. Nobody wants to feel terrible about themselves. I feel like for me anyway, the fastest and most effective way to put an instant halt to that is to completely stop comparing ourselves. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things that these sort of negative mindsets stem from, and the lack of self-esteem and self-confidence comes from, is when we start comparing ourselves. You could be so happy and so excited and inspired by something you're doing or creating, and then the minute you see someone else doing something that in your head you think is better, instantly what you have or what you've done suddenly doesn't seem so great anymore. The day you realize that everybody's path in life is different, all of us are completely different and unique in our own ways, especially as females, we need to stop comparing ourselves to one another and start cheering each other on and feeling good about what other people are doing, because even if you don't tell that person that you're happy for them or you're inspired by them, it doesn't matter, because it's all about how it's all going down in your own head. So when you look at somebody and you instantly feel jealous and mad that you aren't as good as them, not only are you then sending out negative energy to this person, you're also creating some sort of toxic turmoil in your head that's making you feel like crap about yourself. We need to stop being so harsh and mean to ourselves, and we need to start realizing that everything that makes us us is unique, and the mistakes we made are lessons learned, and the things we don't have are things that we can push and work for. We can stop ourselves dead in our tracks when it comes to comparing our lives to other people. But to stop caring what other people think is one of the hardest things we will ever do, and I don't think it's something that you ever just completely turn off. I'm not going to tell you to never care what anyone thinks because it's nearly impossible, but we have to learn to catch ourselves doing it and to push ourselves out of it faster. If you go through your entire life trying to be good enough for everybody else, you're never going to feel good enough for yourself. You're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to be sitting there like, oh my God, I spent my entire life trying to be what I thought everybody else wanted me to be, because nobody's asking you, nobody's telling you you need to do this. It's all in your head. You're happily walking through life trying to do your best to just live it as fully as possible and be as content and do the things that make you happy. If that bothers anybody else, then that's their problem, and you shouldn't involve yourself in that type of like negative energy, and just continue doing you. We only have one short life on this earth, and my biggest fear is wasting time. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, all that matters is if you're a good person and you lived a good life. It's not an easy thing to do, and you're gonna catch yourself caring every now and then, especially if you're doing something, you know, out of your comfort zone and out in public or in front of people's eyeballs. If it makes you happy and if you wanna do it, just do it. The faster we start training ourselves to be okay with that, to be okay with us, to, you know what, do it because you want to, not because you feel you have to or you feel you should or other people think you should. Just do what you want and be happy, as long as you're a good person at the end of the day and you're not hurting anybody. The faster we push ourselves to live boldly like that, not only do we spend a happier life with ourselves, we also kind of pave the path for other people to see that and be like, you know what? Good for them. Good for that person for living their life and not giving a shit. I want to do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's coffee talk. As always, if you guys have anything to add to this topic, be sure to leave it down below. Or if you guys have any future coffee talk requests, then again, leave that down below so I can check that out and add it to the list. I love you guys to the moon and back. I really hope you're enjoying YouTuber. And yeah, other than that, I will see you guys all in tomorrow's video. Bye guys. I've been out here waiting for nightfall.